So one of the great things about D-Day is the sheer amount of organisation that was needed to enable D-Day to happen. If you think about 150,000 men landing in France in one day, that takes an awful lot of organisation. So there was an awful lot of planning and an awful lot of documents generated to enable D-Day to take place. We've got a lot of the documents from the planning of D-Day in our archives, and one of the most interesting documents is this document here. This is a landing table for the British 3rd Infantry Division who landed on Sword Beach, and this is for the second tide on D-Day, so this is for the units that were landing later on in the day after lunchtime. And basically it shows us what units were landing where on D-Day. It gives you a serial number of the landing craft, the name of the unit, how many men, how many vehicles. The vehicles even goes down to hand carts or bicycles. And it tells us where in the Portsmouth area they embarked, whether it was at Gosport or South Parade Pier, places like that. And it tells us what beach they were going to land on, so not just Sword Beach, but it tells us that, for example, this unit here were going to land on Queen White Beach. So this is really useful for tracing what units embarked through a particular area in Portsmouth, and also tells us what units landed where in Normandy. Of course, this is the plan, so this is what was meant to happen. It might not necessarily be what did actually happen, but again, it's a very useful resource for telling us about what happened on D-Day. And this document was owned by a guy called Major Henry Redburn, who was the military landing officer for the British 3rd Infantry Division who landed on Sword Beach, and his job was to organise what units were going to embark where and when they were going to land on the beach. So he had a really important job, possibly not one of the most glamorous jobs, but really important in terms of making sure that Sword Beach on D-Day worked and everyone was where they were meant to be and when. Okay, so in this document here we can see when the craft was meant to be ready to land on D-Day, so that's the amount of time after H hour. There's a serial number for the landing craft and the type of landing craft. This serial number isn't always the actual number of the landing craft, because they weren't sure what landing craft was going to be where and when due to mechanical breakdown or whatever, so these are actual serial numbers, and you see in photos of D-Day that landing craft often have a serial number chalked on them which is different to their actual number. That's why. This column here you can see different units, so this is 245 Headquarters Provost Company, a military police unit. It tells us that there were 2 men with a vehicle, and they were carrying going in one car and a handcart. They embarked through Hardway at Gosport, and they were going on an LST, a landing ship tank, and they were going to land on Queen White sector on Sword Beach on D-Day.